Hey everybody, welcome to Technology 101. What it is and why does it matter? So first of all, thank you so much, Cornerstone and Sherry and all of you for the opportunity to come here and speak to you today about technology. I know there are a lot of other things that you could be doing right now, and I just want to let you know that I value and appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to what I hope will be a fruitful discussion for all of us this afternoon. So let's get started with a just quick introduction. My name is Brandon Blaze, and by day I am a senior director of development at Pulsate. And Pulsate is a healthcare analytics company, and we work with health insurance companies to make sure that people who need care are getting care and don't fall through the cracks. And especially, we're focused on preventative care because I'm sure everybody knows that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, which is just a really simple way of saying that if we can provide folks with the care that they need before they develop some sort of a serious health issue, it's going to be cheaper care and way better for them, right? So if you've got diabetes and you're going to the doctor and you're watching your weight and you're exercising and you're taking all the medications that you should, that's cheaper care and better care than if you let your diabetes completely go out of control. You're not taking any medication. Uh, you gain a lot of weight. You're not exercising, and all of a sudden you have a heart attack. That's going to be expensive care and terrible health care. And so our goal is to try to keep people healthy instead of trying to help them after they get sick. We do that by, again, crunching all this data, doing this big data analytics from data coming from the health insurance companies. And so it's really interesting. Um, the next thing I'm involved in is I am the lead technical consultant for Action Display Services. And that's really interesting. What Action Display Services does is they make these touchscreen information centers, and I've got a picture of one on the screen here. And what those do is they provide, picture a big screen TV with the ease of use of an iPad. So they provide a spot for different facilities, and it's at this point we're focused on gyms and golf courses, a way to organize and present all of their information that's important to their members. And so we've got information like news, announcements, specials, schedules, instructional videos, all those sorts of things that are up on these touchscreen information centers. There's also the ability for people who are using these touchscreen information centers to be able to send the information that they're viewing to themselves, kind of take it with them on the go on their phones, which is a pretty cool feature. And this is completely free to the facilities. It's paid for by ads that are purchased by our sponsors. So it's pretty cool business model. And I'm also the chief technology officer for eventsathome.co, and that's really cool. What that is, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say this or not, but you can think of it like the Airbnb of events. So let's say you've got a second property. Let's say you've got a beach home. Let's say you've got a really nice backyard. Maybe you've got a barn and you're looking to make a few extra bucks. You can list your property on our site. And what we do is connect people with really interesting, unique properties with people looking for a really interesting, unique venue for a special event, whether it's weddings, birthdays, corporate events, you name it. And so the really cool thing for homeowners is that you can specify the access. So if you don't want people to come into your house, if that's not part of the package deal, if it's only your yard or only your beachfront property, only your second property or your barn, you can specify that. So you don't even have to let people in the house. You can literally be gone on a Saturday. People can come and have a wedding in your beautiful backyard. And by the time you get back, it's cleaned up and put away, and you didn't have to really do much work other than kind of list the home. For guests, the really cool thing is we're providing access to tons of different unique venues. So lots of times people are they're looking for something different. They're sick of the cookie cutter type venues, and we provide them a marketplace that has all these different venues where folks can go to say, hey, that place, that looks like it's the perfect place for our wedding, or the perfect place for our corporate event, or the perfect place for so and so's birthday party. And at a pretty good price too. A lot of times people are looking to plan these things on a budget. And so we think we've got very, very competitive pricing. So that's Events at Home. So as you can imagine, I'm pretty busy. I've also got a beautiful wife, Candace. We've been married for 13 years and 3 boys. Preston, who's 4 years old, and then twins, Mason and Grant, who are 17 months. And they definitely keep me hopping. So that's me in a nutshell. All right, let's talk about technology a little bit. Specifically, what do we mean when we say technology? And according to the Oxford Dictionary, technology is the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes. And more specifically, though, when we're talking about a computer, what do we mean by a computer? And according to Merriam-Webster, a computer is a programmable, usually electronic device that can store, retrieve, and process data. And so I think those are some good technical definitions, but practically speaking, technology and computers have become so ubiquitous that sometimes it's not obvious exactly what is and isn't a computer, right? Just think about it. Is my TV a computer? What about my phone? How about a calculator? What about my truck? I mean, that certainly has embedded computer systems. There was a point in time not so long ago when people went to work as computers. That was an actual occupation. They didn't work on computers, they didn't program computers, they were the computers. That's what you called somebody. And people would crunch numbers for other people and do all these various different calculations. They were literally computers before we had machines to help with that. And so, what I really like is Steve Jobs' definition. How many of you guys here today know who Steve Jobs was? Anybody know? That's right. He was the CEO of Apple, CEO and founder of Apple. And his definition was this. I'll just read the whole quote from Steve here. He says, one of the things that really separates us from higher primates is that we're tool builders. I read a study that measured the efficiency of locomotion for various species on the planet. The condor used the least energy to move a kilometer, and humans came in with a rather unimpressive showing about a third of the way down the list. It was not too proud a showing for the crown of creation, so that didn't look so good. But then somebody at Scientific American had the insight to test the efficiency of locomotion for a man on a bicycle. And a man on a bicycle, a human on a bicycle, blew the condor away, completely off the top of the charts. And that's what a computer is to me. What a computer to me is the most remarkable tool that we've ever come up with. It's the equivalent of a bicycle for our minds. I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, whoa, that really stuck with me. Because a computer really enhances or augments, you might say, our natural mental capabilities. Just like a bicycle enhances or augments our physical ability to travel. A computer enhances our ability to communicate, to search for information, to remember things, to learn, to share, and of course to process information and make decisions. But as powerful as an individual computer might be, you increase that power exponentially when you start interconnecting computers and by extension people. Case in point, the internet. I'm sure we could come up with a list of 100 ways the internet has completely changed our lives. Just think for a minute, what would the world be like without the internet? Technology changes everything, and we almost all use it to varying degrees every day, sometimes without even realizing it. And that's how you know it's really good. It almost just kind of blends in. It's almost like just a natural fit. That, and when the technology itself becomes a noun, or a verb like Googling something, then you know it's really taken root. What is my goal today? I want to give you guys a taste for what it's like to work in technology and maybe pique some of your interest and get you excited about learning and possibly working in the tech industry. So let me tell you a little bit about why I love technology. Well, let's take a few case studies here. Apple Computer. How many of you guys have iPhones, iPods, iPads, Macs? Apple Computer, founded by two college dropouts. They started building the Apple One in Steve Jobs' garage. Also, Apple also became the first trillion with a T publicly traded company in US history. What about Google? How many of you have used Google, their search engine? Like I said before, to Google something means to search for it on the internet. It's ubiquitous. Maybe you have a Chromebook. Google, founded by two college students in their dorm rooms. Their first official office was in a garage. According to Wikipedia, they're the most visited website in the world. Take a look at one more. Facebook, launched by a 19-year-old college sophomore. There was some controversy right from the beginning, and there continues to be some to this day around privacy. Um, but it's visited by 400 million people a month. So, what all these things have in common? Humble beginnings, massively successful, innovative, creative, disruptive, improve people's lives. Now, all of these attributes are not necessarily unique to the tech sector, but technology can absolutely facilitate business growth on a massive scale. And so, for example, even if we just look at in terms of developing and getting your product out there, with Events at Home, we went from an idea to literally a drawing on a piece of paper and then a whiteboard, and then we talked about it and tweaked it a little bit more, to a functioning website capable of listing and booking homes within a year. And that was only 4 people working part-time nights and weekends. So we went from the idea to the actual product within a year, and we probably could have gone quicker than that if we were working on it full time. Technology is the key to the engine that can bring your $1 million idea to life. And the thing that resonates with me about these success stories, if you go back and look at these guys, college kids, people that working out of their garages, if they can do it, so can I. So can you. And technology has the potential to connect us and process information in a way never before possible. So let's take events at home, listing and booking a home for an event. You could do that without a computer. You could absolutely do that without a computer. How far would 4 people get? I mean, how many homes would we be able to book? How would we keep track of it all? I mean, would each of us, maybe we could manage a certain number of properties, 10, 50, maybe 100? How would we collect the money? How would we keep the schedules in sync? How would we handle customer service? How would we notify homeowners when there's an event or when there's a cancellation? So 4 people could maybe deal with 400 homes. But using the power of a computer, using the power of the internet, 4 people develop a product and put it out there. And it's conceivable, and I'm not saying this will happen, but it's possible and it has happened where a product like that, like Google, like Facebook, like some of the Apple products, takes off. And because the site connects people like an Amazon, it allows hundreds of millions of transactions a day between interested folks that we would never be able to manage or keep track of or process without computers and without interconnecting people. And that's really the power of technology. So I get excited at the prospect of making it big, and we've kind of touched on that a little bit. And at Pulsate, I got in pretty early on in the company's history, and I was able to grow with the company, and I did pretty well financially. Working with Action Display Services, that's proved to be a pretty stable part-time gig. It's allowed me to save some money and pay off some debt, and having multiple income streams and not having to depend on one employer can be super helpful financially, right? I remember one employer I worked for in the healthcare space prior to Pulse 8, another tech startup in Springfield, went belly up. It's nice to have some side income or to have decent savings when something like that happens. Now, events at home isn't profitable yet, but I think there's potential for it to be massively successful. But even if it isn't, even if it's a total flop, which I don't think is going to happen, but even if that, and that's the worst case, first of all, I got to learn a ton of new things founding a startup. Some of it was tech related, some new technology I got to play with, which was great. But there was other things too. How much would a class on business development cost? Or various programming certificates to learn some of this new technology? And not that those things aren't useful, but I got hands-on real-world experience. So instead of just learning about it in a classroom or through a course, and again, what would that cost? I got to learn for free by doing it, which for me is how things really sink in. And I got to have fun developing something that I'm passionate about with my friends. And since I'm in the tech space and since I do a lot of hands-on programming, I got to practice and hone my skills. So it's that whole idea of sharpening the saw so I'm more efficient, more effective as a developer, even in my day job. Technology is everywhere, and more people are integrating with it and, and interacting with it as a part of their profession. So there's a lot of opportunity to do something cool with it. So what are the key takeaways? I've shared a bit about technology and why I love it. Spend some time thinking about what motivates you and why. Make a list as you think about what you'd like to learn more about and what sort of career you'd like to have in 5 or 10 years down the road. Remember, when you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Come up with a list of $3 million ideas. In what ways can technology help to turn your ideas into reality? Remember, $1 million ideas aren't worth anything unless you take action. If you think you might be interested in a career in technology and want to learn more, you can feel free to contact me. So anyways, thanks again for your time, and I will turn it back over to the class in case you guys have questions.